I'm just darling, fixing it now. Okay. I think you have to accept something or... Let's see. I think, I'm not sure what you have to click. Let me have a look. Copy, paste. Yes, you click on yes. And you have to have a Gmail account to do it. Oh, that's not right. Yes, you click on yes. That's not right. Have the others do it. And you have to have a Gmail account to do it. Quiet me. Guys, we're just getting through a couple of technical issues right now. Just stand by. We're trying to find out why it's not letting everyone join. This is annoying. We had this working event. Oh, come on. I do not want to have a one-way conversation with everyone, people. I want to have a full-on conversation. So just stand by while we work it out. Pasting good. you remember what you did the other day, Stephen, to get online? Oh, hang on, I'm getting... stand by. Got the problem solved. Try that, Anna. David, Stephen, please try that. And if that works, then we're right to rock and roll. Yes.
Yo.
Yo. Hello, everyone. Now, that's 2. I have to send it out on Twitter.
G'day.
Hello, sorry. I didn't realise there were 2 different buttons on that bloody option. We're missing DG. Now, I'm going to give some audio control to you two. We've got a chat message. Yay. Yep, you should be unmuted. I could hear you before, Anna. Can you talk, Anna?
Can she hear you?
Can you hear me, Anna?
Now I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, now I can hear you. Sorry, that was my own headset problem.
Okay. Well, we've sent out the invite. We've got DG's joined us as well. I'm going to give audio control to... And here's Mr. Merkin. Okay. Craig doesn't want to be seen, but he can still chat to the room.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you are there. Okay, cool. How you going, Craig? All right. And anyone else that wants to join us can join us through either way. They can interview us, chat with us, or there's a new link up for everyone that wants to join us actually online. I'll just make sure everyone's got it, and I've just sent it out on Twitter as well. And we're 10 minutes behind the agenda. Sorry about that.
Be back in a second.
Oh, Craig, you're leaving us already.
I'm just going to grab a drink.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was getting boring already. I'm just making sure that everyone's got that link, and I'll just make sure that everyone's got the latest link. Unfortunately, with Google Hangouts, the only way they can communicate is if they have a Google account, which is a little bit annoying, but
That's all good. It's all information that we can share for next time.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to start briefly because there are people listening in to us from remote, and those listening in from remote can actually chat to us still. I've got the chat session open, so if you are listening to us via YouTube, if you chat or leave messages on YouTube, we will actually see those messages coming up. I just have to reopen that session again. So, more than welcome to send questions through to us. We would like to know a few questions we've got for you, like
that we can share for next time.
Like who you are, why did you join the call today, and we'd love to know why you actually follow Cycle in the first place. So if you want to add them into the chat session, those of you that can access the chat on the live screen, it's just on the side of your chat bar. Hey Alex, how you going, mate? Nice to see you join us tonight. Now, if you are muted, we've got control to mute some people or to mute people. If you want to talk, wave your arms around like you just don't care, and we'll unmute you so you can talk. We're more than happy to answer questions. This is an open meeting. This is our first one we've ever done, and it's the first of, I'm sure, many. On the technical side of things, I'm going to let David Guyot, who, if he waves his arms around right now, or I'll put him up the front of the screen in a second. That's David Guyot down there. He's going to chat and introduce everyone. So because we're 10 minutes, 15 minutes behind, 10 minutes behind, I'm going to pass it over to David right now, and he can introduce the team to you that's here. There you go, Dave.
Okay. You are Ed, believe it or not. Ed is our fearless leader that does a lot of the work. Steve Mitchell, the Lappin jersey you can see on screen. Steve is very informed and very well connected around Brisbane and southeast Queensland as far as cycling and bicycle user groups are concerned, and in the councils, and he's very, very good at achieving outcomes for us. Myself, I see myself as a bit of the larrikin of the group that does get things done. I do try to stir the pot and make people think about what they're putting up rather than just putting up stuff for the sake of putting it up. And Anna is our Canadian correspondent. Always good to have someone for overseas to make it look really good, eh? Even though she's from Australia.
Originally from Australia, currently living in Montreal. So.
Yeah. No, we're calling you as overseas correspondent.
Yeah. Previously lived in Amsterdam and travelled a lot around Europe, so have had the best of cycle heaven in Amsterdam as well. So.
Yeah. Okay. And that's us.
That's us now. We've got more people joining. Hey, Jay, how you going, mate?
Hey, Ed.
We're just saying before, if people want, we are muting people so we don't get bombarded. If you do want to talk, please either unmute yourselves or wave your arms around so we know that you want to talk.
Do these, we will see you.
And we will we'll unmute you and you can chat. Introduce a few of the characters around that have just joined us. Jay Cooper is a very influential young man up in New South Wales, and John Hanley is commonly known as Ridley on the newspapers, etc. So you get Ridley Walker in full. So you get to know him a wee bit from his escapades in the newspapers. Appreciate both of you guys joining us tonight. We've got a few people watching us on the YouTube channel, so it's going to be interesting anyway. Thanks, David, for the introductions. That was great. Anna's actually doing a lot to help us. We've grown awfully quickly, awfully fast, and we sort of need a little bit of guidance in making sure that we do the right thing by everyone. And Anna's background, where she is at the moment, and she can mention where she is if she wants to, is very important to us. So I think I'm absolutely very excited to have her around. It's really great.
Thanks, Edward.
I just got
for everyone else, yeah, I work for Greenpeace International, so I've got some experience working for a really big organisation, but I'm just moonlighting doing this. This is way more fun than my desk job. So, but yeah, I have some NGO communications
way more fun than my desk job.
We've got the agenda we've put up, and Anna's actually done the agenda, and I've rapidly rushed it up onto the screen without editing it. And I appreciate that, Anna. And excuse my rush putting it up. Now, just feel free to unmute yourselves and tell us. Actually, we'll go around and I'll ask you in person. Hang on, I'll just change screens again so I can get up the right thing. Starting with young Craig. I'm doing it in order of who's on where. Tell us about why you follow Cycle. I've known you for a hell of a long time there, Craig, but tell us why you follow Cycle and why you joined today.
I mainly joined just to see what was happening.
Oh, brief, simple. And why do you follow us in the first place? You and I have spoken for a long time, I know, since Road User and Abuser days.
Well, yeah. Well, before that.
Yes, it was actually. It was before that, yeah.
Yeah, way before that.
You joined to meet me, Ed. It's all good.
Alex, tell us about yourself, mate.
Hello, everybody. I'm a student. I live in Melbourne. I commute a lot everywhere, and I follow Cycle because I'm really interested in making cycling, in particular commuting, a lot more accessible, and particularly to have, I guess, a different demographic, a different sort of bike on our streets, and the appropriate infrastructure for them. And I like to hear what everybody's saying, what people are doing. I personally, I want to get involved in local council and work in that area. But my background is actually, I worked in a bike store years ago, but now I work with as a furniture maker. That's what I do for a living.
Cool.
I'm sorry, that was a bit of everywhere. But
that's all right. We'll keep going down the list. Jay, yourself, mate.
Yeah, me?
Jay Cooper, yeah.
Yeah, Jai actually, Ed's
Oh,
pronunciation.
Jai. I've always called you Jay, mate. I apologise. Jai.
All good, all good. Yeah, I'm Jai Cooper. I'm actually with the University of Newcastle, sociologist, casual, and doing an honours thesis in bike culture. So I came across the Cycle page and seemed to be some of the best quality discussion that I could find. Personally, I've been an advocate for years, and going right back into the early '90s, critical mass, and I'm a Cyborgian cyclist. The wheels are my wheelchair, so I've got a dodgy leg, and walking's no good. So I'm pretty dedicated to cycling and to cycling advocacy. And we've got a pretty strong network. I'm currently researching regional advocates in New South Wales, and one of the key things is looking at how we make cycling advocacy, sustainable, that people get involved and stick with it. What the motivators are initially that bring people to it, and why people would want to stay involved, because it's something not like the colour of your skin. You can get off your bike. So yeah, how do we actually make people long-term advocates?
Excellent. Thanks, Jay. Jai. Oops. All right. I'll just keep on going down. We're running. We've got to run a little bit overtime otherwise. But down to young John Henley, Mr. Ridley Walker. Now, have you got your microphone working this time, John? No, I don't think he's got his microphone working.
He can see, but he can't hear.
Could I just suggest, Edward, to save time and get onto some of the really fun stuff that you've got on the agenda, maybe people could chat in a little bit of an introduction. Like, I really loved hearing what you were doing, Jai, and why you're following Cycle. So maybe other people could also chat that in, and then we can get a bit of a sense of who's on the call. But if a couple of people also want to introduce yourself, by voice, we've got a time for maybe like 3 more, I think.
Yeah, well, actually, what we might do, I agree with that, and I think we're actually sort of almost on time again. Let's get back to. I've got to remember to keep clicking around. Sorry, guys, I've got to remember to keep clicking who's talking, so we can actually record this onto YouTube. Guys, I love cycle. I'll tell you a little bit about it, and I'll tell you how it started, and I'll tell you why I'm excited about it. And I'm not going to be like an American evangelist here. You're not going to see me dancing around or anything like that. Sorry. But I got involved in cycle about 2 years ago by accident. I got attacked on the road, and I asked around who actually supports and who actually helps cyclists, and I was told that there are a few groups around, and I went and followed those groups and got involved, got my membership to one of them, and started working with another one. Actually worked for Amy Gillett Foundation for a while, which I absolutely loved, and I do fully support their programs and their organisation. They are very important to me because they do a lot of good stuff. And then after working with them for a stint, I was about to close down Cycle and decided on the spur of a moment. The guys that are close to Cycle know what that spur of the moment was, and it's really material what it was. But what it did cause is 13th. Steve, what day? 18th December. David, you might remember 18th of December, or
yeah, it was just before Christmas when you and I got back to talking terms. So yeah.
So it was just before Christmas. I said I'm going to give Cycle a go and see what happens, and then the real big twist was a guy by the name of Michael Cavell Anderson sent out this tweet on Christmas Eve. And the tweet said, those that worry about the weight of their bike should maybe not be advocating in cycling. And it meant a lot to me because it meant that although it doesn't matter if they advocate in cycling, it says that we have a lot of sport in Australia. And the example of that, Jai will remember at Velo City, when they had the ride on the Wednesday morning, I think it was. And we went out, and everyone was dressed in Lycra. And I dress in Lycra. I've got 8 different bikes, and I go out and do lots of stuff. But I actually commute in a suit. And when I turned up in Adelaide in a suit, they were all asking me why the hell I was riding a bike in a suit. I'm going, there's nothing wrong with that. So I've sort of started Cycle as a communications group first. And to talk about what Alex mentioned before, there is a gap in the way that we communicate as advocacy or as the advocacy groups communicate, and to solve that, we're working more and more time activating or communicating with the groups and communicating with people to try and get people to become more active. Does that make sense to people? Do you understand? Now, the primary thing here, I cannot say this enough. Cycle is not an advocacy group, okay? I've said this a dozen times, I say it all the time. We are not an advocacy group. We are a media group first and foremost. We will tell you the news. Then after that, we work as a consultancy with councils, governments, other groups, and lots of people, even helping start up a bug in Frankston. Wave your hand around, Craig, the new Frankston bug coordinator. We're working to activate grassroots stuff, and that's something that Stephen is going to talk about, I think, shortly. Look, we've got a few minutes before we go on to the next agenda item. Is there anyone who wants to ask any question about why Cycle? And I will say one last thing before I actually open it up, and that is that we were going to go through a rebranding exercise back in April. And DG and Stephen will remember this, and I turned around and said that I wanted to change the name of Cycle. And we spoke to a very smart person who turned around and told us if we changed our name, we were nuts. So we've kept the name Cycle, and it seems to work. I don't know. But I'm just going to open up the floor for a couple of minutes while we've got some time. Does anyone want to ask us anything about why Cycle, why we call it Cycle? No one? No? Oh, right, the floor is quiet. Oh, my God.
Why did you go with Cycle, Ed?
I have got a reputation here, guys. I can talk underwater with marbles in my mouth. So be warned.
What, Ed, just, I mean, a little bit of the light side of thing. What drew you to a bike?
I come from a little country town in New Zealand. There's only two ways to get around. You drive or you ride. I started riding when I was 4 years old. I had my brother's bike, little blue thing. I rode to kindergarten. That's how safe it was where I grew up. I rode to kinder, and by myself. My brother was supposed to ride with me, but he wasn't interested, and I didn't care. Started racing as a young bloke. Left cycling for a little while due to stupidity, and got back to cycling again in 2004-05, weighing at 145 kilos. I weighed so much that I put myself on the scales and broke the scales. I'm not joking here, people. I broke the scales. I had to go to the doctors. The doctors had to weigh me on their big scales. The next stop was going to be the horse scales. So why do I cycle? It's because it keeps my blood pressure under control, keeps me healthy, and if I'm healthy, I don't have to see the doctor, and I hate doctors. And dentists. Also hate dentists.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. What you mentioned on the phone the other night, basic truths, and also the relationship to ACP.
Okay. The basic truths of cycle. Geez, Guy, you put me on the spot straight away, didn't you? Good on you, mate.
No, that's my job.
The basic truths of cycle. We have a bunch of tenets that we live by, that the guys have to agree with before they can actually become part of cycle. One of those tenets is contentious. It's about the most contentious issue we talk about in cycling. And yes, we are talking about lids. The fact is that we do have a tenet that says that we feel that cycling, the helmets in cycling, does have a negative impact in cycling overall. Now, I know that's going to upset a lot of people. Tenet, I can't say it, John. My mouth is so sore. Tenets, I'm trying to say. The other tenets we have is around inclusive cycling. We believe that people have to understand all modes of cycling transport, not just how to ride a bike very fast, not just how to ride a bike very slow. You have to understand the whole gamut of riding. There are a bunch of other ones which I'm actually going to keep to myself at the moment, Jai. Sorry, mate.
That's okay.
And we will use those whenever someone wants to join cycle at a higher level, and we're always open to that. We are still looking for people in South Australia, Tasmania. We're still adding people to us from this current states we're very strong in, and I would love to get some sort of presence in WA, but WA seems to be a hard. I'm going to use the word.
To crack.
Yeah, hard market to crack. It's a word.
I think WA's biggest issue is that Perth is the remotest city on the planet.
Yeah, it's all out there. We all know what WA stands for. It stands for wait a while. Lived there for 5 years. Love the spot. I'd probably live there if I didn't live in Melbourne. But it is. They are very much on their own on a lot of issues, and that's sad and good at the same time. Guys, I've spoken enough. I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Lappin over here. I don't know if he's going to be able to use his camera or not because his data where he is absolutely rubbish sometimes. So, Steve.
And I have kids, and that's why we have crap data. But
all yours, Stephen. Stephen's going to discuss what we're trying to accomplish in everyone's area. So go for it, mate.
Yeah, so basically what we're trying to achieve through the user groups, whatever you want to call them in your area, is to provide them with an overarching voice and support. So obviously most of our user groups are small Even the CBD bug up here in Brisbane is that I just read on there on a letter that they sent the council that they've got 700 members. So and they do fantastic work alongside of another 4 or 5 bicycle user groups we've got in Brisbane. But obviously, even if all of them have 700 members, they're talking to a council. That's the Brisbane, and understand this, Brisbane City Council's the geographic size of the entire Greater Melbourne area. So if we look at Greater Melbourne area with 28 councils and 17 bugs, I think Ed told me last time. Obviously, we've got that same sort of area up here, and 4 user groups trying to petition council for various things to be done. So they don't have a huge voice. They definitely do good work, and they definitely want to see cycling moved forward, but maybe they don't have the voice that they'd like to have. So with our support, what we're proposing for them is, or for all of our user groups, is that they utilise our resources. They can come and have a yarn to us about various things. See if we can provide them some feedback on what they're trying to achieve, or if they just don't have the time or the ability or whatever reason, quite happy to go into bat on their behalf. So go and talk to a council about from Cycle, but on behalf of whichever user group that is. And when we go to talk to council, obviously we can say to them, and I usually send a letter from them saying, here's who we are, here's who we're working with, let them know that we're about to go and talk to Stephen Yarwood at his request, about to talk to Clover Moore at her request, that we already work with all of these councils in Melbourne, and we work with various user groups all around Australia. So that certainly opens up some doors with our councils, even up here in Brisbane, where basically they've never heard of us before, because we've only really been 6 months on the ground up in Brisbane. But by being able to tell them that sort of thing, and being able to tell them about the fact that we've got viral reach of at times up to 140,000 people listening to what we're talking about, it definitely opens up doors with those councils on their behalf. So yeah, this is what we're attempting to do. We've had a couple of meetings certainly up here in Brisbane with the bicycle user groups up here. I know Ed has ongoing discussions with a number of those bicycle user groups in Melbourne and elsewhere in the southern states. And what we ultimately would like to be able to do is to say, look, here is however many bicycle user groups there are in the whole of Australia, plus all of these other members and people that use our services, and we're here to talk to our council about whatever on behalf of all of these people. So yeah, we've had a couple of meetings. We had some meetings. I attend the Style Over Speed rides and the Penny Farthing rides up in Brisbane, and I know that we've got Ed going to various events down in Melbourne as well, and keeping in touch with what's happening as well. So ultimately, we want to try to create a very large community, rather than a little whisper in the ear of each of the councils, to have an almighty roar in the ear of the councils and government departments, whether they be state or federal as well, so that they know that we're actually here and that we're talking on behalf of hundreds of members, or thousands of members, not hundreds of members. That's pretty much that.
Any questions, anyone? Or?
Any hands going up?
No. Oh, yeah.
Where's Steve?
No,
go on,
Jai.
Go on.
Wants to talk.
Was there someone else? Yeah, I got a question, but
yeah, go for it, mate.
Okay. I guess the first question that I had about this was there's been a bit of work on social media and the use of it in advocacy in the States. A geographer, Stalen, did a little bit on that, but didn't really cover it much. I don't know, have you looked into other models based on another model, or yeah, and some of the dynamics? Has anyone done any of the background on that?
To answer your question, Jai, it's a double-barrel question you've got there. What is the most successful and what impacts does it have? We've found that social media can be used as a carrot and as a hammer. And we've found that when we haven't been happy with something, we will go viral on it, and we do ask that everyone else helps us with the virility when we're doing something like that. For example, we have claimed, and we claimed in the newspaper, that there were not enough people getting fined for the 144A rule in Queensland, and we went viral on that, and it went and got into the newspapers, and we went viral on the newspapers as well. And what has that caused? We'll go on to what's that caused later on. Stephen's got some information regarding that as to how we're going with that. But what it does allow us to do is to use social media in a very powerful way. Now, when we're talking about the forums and the other methods of communications and the other methods of getting things out there, things like Critical Mass, for example, Critical Mass has had a very good run in Victoria as well as New South Wales, but never took off from what I know in Queensland. I could be wrong, so if I'm wrong, tell me. I would like to know.
There was one. There was one. It was cut off at the knees before it even rolled over the start line.
Yep.
The police turned up at the start of it and just shut it down.
Bastards. Well, what we've found is we've found that Critical Mass and that sort of stuff does work, but that's not us. We are not into no other word, militant style approaches. We do know that they work, but that's not what Cycle's about. Cycle will use social media pressure. If you want, that's about as militant as we will become. We will never ever encourage a cyclist to use a weapon on a car, because guess what? Doesn't matter how hard you hit that car can hit you a hell of a lot harder back. And if it doesn't hit you, some bastard behind him can turn around and decide to use his car to do it. So we do not recommend being militant. We do not recommend being aggressive. We have found social media has worked for us, Jai, and to that end, our new website we're still building at the moment due to lack of time. Will actually incorporate a lot of social media into it. Does that answer your question there, Jai?
Yeah. I guess the point that was made about social media is it can be a moderating effect or a radicalizing effect. It can, can legitimize a lot of things that people question. Okay, is that okay? What's socially acceptable? And like you say, it might increase the communication, the knowledge of critical mass or other forms of social challenge that's going on, of confrontation, without necessarily endorsing other actions that might be inappropriate or otherwise. I guess that's what I was looking for, that we're using social media to expand the range of social advocacy roles for cycling.
Yeah. And Jai,
sorry, I was just going to say that. Yeah, I was just going to say, Jai, it sounds like you've got a whole bunch of academic expertise and background, and you've actually done your research in this area. So I think it would be pretty amazing to maybe set up a admin call for you, or maybe a sort of hangout where you could present some of the sort of key findings of your work within this community, because this is the sort of community that would really benefit from sharing your knowledge more broadly.
You'll have to wait to read the paper.
I've actually asked Jai to do some of that with us. So secretly, that's why I was really happy to see him join the call today, because secretly it's not very secret anymore now. We've actually asked Jai to help us a little bit on a couple of things, which I'm not going to go into for the reasons of information. Look, one thing I will say is not everything we do is public. Not everything we do is something we can broadcast. There is a lot of things that we do that do happen behind the scenes, and that's just a reality of the work that we're doing. And in order to do some of the things that we do, requires us to step quietly and get things done quietly. I'm talking in riddles, I'm sorry. As I said, I can talk with marbles in my mouth underwater, but that's just the reality of it sometimes. But Jai and I have had a few conversations, and he's a great guy, seriously. Good guy to get to know.
Can I ask the group head a question? Is there anybody else who's got a research or scientific background in this? There was at Velocity there was a Scientists for Cycling colloquium, so Jen Bonham, Chris Russell, myself were there, and I don't know, amongst people who have some good background in that regard. Be nice to know.
Yeah, it would be good. Actually, we should put up another invitation. Last time we put up an invitation for people that did writing. I think we only had about 1,000 likes on the page. So we've grown a little bit since then.
Yep.
We're right on schedule. Is there anyone else who's got any questions relating to the regular meetings and the activation of the local groups? No? Okay. I'm going to go on to why memberships. This is an interesting question. We are going to change to a membership model. This doesn't mean that you have to be a member of Cycle in order to access our page or any of the information that we have to a large degree. There are going to be areas put aside for members only. But why are we going to a membership model? Was because this stuff costs us quite a lot. It costs us a lot of time and a lot of effort, and we love it, and we really do love what we're doing. We think that what we're doing is exciting, is not entertaining, interesting. Certainly not entertaining. Some days are shockers, and some days are hard, and some days are even worse. But it's interesting to see how things are happening and how quickly things are changing. So we are looking at a membership model, and in that membership model, it'll go from a $0 membership up. And guys, I'm going to throw an idea at you. I can't even remember who gave us this idea in the first place. It might even be someone in the room, I'm not sure. But it might have been Jai. Was it you, Jai, that was spoke to? Yes, it was, wasn't it? About the membership.
What have I done?
What we're going to be doing is we're going to be offering membership models starting from I think it was Alloy was the first one, which is a $0 membership. Next one being Steel, which is the $5 a month membership. Next one, Carbon, which is a $10 membership, and then Titanium, which is a $20 membership. And these are a monthly membership. Now, why are we doing this? It's because of the number of projects and programs we're doing. We really need to have someone on full time, and we're trying to organise that at the moment. Now, that means it sounds like we're a money grab. Well, we're not. We're not looking for sponsorship inside the industry. We're not going to be selling Wiggle. We actually are working closely with a number of LBS local bike shops in order to get value in the memberships. We're actually talking to an insurance company. We've been talking to them. I've been talking to them for over a year. Insurance companies are very slow companies to work with. They are the slowest. We've been talking to other industries and other things as well. But the reality is that on the 25th of August, we have a meeting in New South Wales. In that meeting, Stephen and I, and maybe even David, is going to be flying to Sydney. We need a stay a night and accommodation, and the way we're doing that right now is it's coming out of our own pocket. Although we don't mind in in a holistic sense, in the long term, it's not sustainable. So in order to get our programs to work, in order to get the things that we're doing going, we are going to go to a membership model. Now, I know I've put extra time here, and I've already actually finished talking about it. I really would like to get your feedback on that, guys, and I really am sincere that I'd like to know what people think about us going to a membership model. Is it something that annoys you? Is it something that you understand, or is it something that we need to reevaluate? Please, I'm opening the floor to everyone here. Are you eating your hair, Anna?
Little bit. Used to do that when I was in primary school, didn't I? Give me a break. I haven't had my breakfast yet. It's 6:20 in the morning here in Montreal. I woke up for you guys, so give me a break. But yeah, legitimate question. Coming back to focus from Ed. I think the question was like, what do people think of a membership model? Would they personally pay it? Would they encourage other people to pay it, or would you not? Do you think it's an annoying question, or like you'd like to, but you wouldn't at this stage? Maybe a couple of audio responses and some answers in the chat would be great.
Anyone going to go ahead? Wave your arm if you're on mute.
I'd like to know like how people would, how they would like to have the membership set up if they were going to join, whether they'd like to pay monthly or whether they'd just like to be one-off payments a year.
Feel free to join in, guys. This whole point of having an open meeting is to let you talk openly.
What do people get for their memberships?
At this point in time, we're going to be we're working with a whole bunch of LBS. It's actually quite funny. One of the largest organisations in Australia have actually left the LBSs high and dry, and we've spoken to them, and they're very keen to get on board. There are other services we're going to be offering, such as tracking your bike if it gets stolen, direct membership activities, things that we're going to be offering. We are actually going to be working with a couple of ride organisers, and cycle members will actually get on those rides for free. And I'm talking about for free, not for a discounted price. Hopefully it'll pan out for us. But most importantly, the value of what you're getting is to know that what we're doing at the moment is lacking, and we're trying to fill a gap that at the moment we are being asked to fill. And I'll go into some more detail about that shortly. But
well, see, the thing with that is, it's one thing to say, yes, we're doing all this for you, but a lot of people, even though I know what you do and all that sort of stuff, and I see the value in it, people that are there don't see the value. They want something for their money.
Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people here. Tell us what you would like from us for the money. Bearing in mind our lowest membership level is $60 a year. Our highest membership model is $240 a year.
Hey, Ed, and Andrew Purcell here. I wouldn't be rushing to sign up as a member for a pay for, but I would be very interested in helping to support particular projects on a donation basis. So I really like the model, and I'm involved and engaged in its current form, but I'm likely just to start backing away if there's a monthly fee. So if I'm inspired by a certain project or initiative that you're going for, then that's when I'm going to open up the wallet, and it's more likely to be donations towards initiatives when it syncs up with the paycheck. But yeah, subscription model, annual's better than monthly for sure for the same reason. So yeah, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, the idea of the memberships is not to force you into a membership. You'll never be asked to us that you must pay in order to be with Cycle. We will never do that, because again, that's something that's lacking in this environment, is the ability to and we rely on numbers. We heavily rely on numbers for the obvious reason. So, Andrew, you do not have any fear. If we go to membership model, we are not going to say you must join us in order to work with us. That is never going to happen. The membership model is purely a voluntary type thing.
Yeah, I think I think you might be onto the insurance idea as well, and I think that might have some legs, because there's definitely some serious costs and money going out of my pocket. So if there's a way for Cycle to be able to leverage that opportunity and take a chunk of what I pay in insurance a year, then I think that's a really cool opportunity. I work for Suncorp too, so if I can help, if Suncorp's of interest, then yeah. So if we could reduce that cost, but then take the discount that we get and put that back into Cycle, I'd be happy with that. So I'll pay full price and see Cycle getting the difference.
Good. Maybe we should talk offline.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't work in insurance at Suncorp, so
no,
but
right.
Yeah, I'm happy to help make those connections.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, no, that's all right. I don't expect you to invent an insurance scheme plan for us. It's all right, Andrew. You believe that the hurdles we're going through at the moment, the hurdles involve the number 8,000, and the number 8,000 is not a dollar value, and it's driving us up the freaking wall. So, yeah. Yeah, don't stress. The membership model is never to put pressure on our members. It's to give them the voluntary opportunity to help us out, and we are looking at ways of providing the value back so that you're not out of pocket and the money goes to help us while staying in your pocket for other things. Sorry, Steve, you were going to say something then too?
And I'll just turn off that. I just wanted, I guess, to say, like, a bit further to what Ed's saying, that with the membership model, a big part of what happens with Cycle is the people that you're seeing here tonight, Ed and Dave. We're also complemented by a couple of other people, Dave and Sarah from time to time. But obviously, what we do with our time talking to councils and to give you an understanding, and this is probably taking a bit of the shine from some stuff we're going to talk about later. Over the next 2 weeks, I've got some 5-6 meetings with state, federal, and local government people, employees. Ministers, whatever else that may be. So I also work full-time, financial planner, work full-time in a very busy practice. So I guess you can sort of understand that part of this is being able to provide the time to do what we want to do for Cycle, and a lot of the larger advocacy groups we hold ourselves out to be similar to, are employing full-time people. So we're certainly wanting to try to move our advocacy group, take a big step up to be able to grow this advocacy, or this, well, not advocacy group because we hate to call ourselves that, but our business, whatever we want to call our business, whatever we want to call that. For us to be a step up, we need to be able to fund our staff. So that's a big part of where we're ultimately needing to move to, and obviously membership would be a part of how we can do that, and we take on board. We've also got to be able to show our members how they're getting value for what they're paying as well. So it's a tricky one for us to try to work that out. How do we get some people to be able to be full-time talking to these members and councillors, etc., rather than having to squeeze it into a lunch break? Make sense?
Guys, we're going to keep moving on. Thanks for your feedback, and as Anna's lovely typing away there like crazy on a lot of things, feel free to actually keep adding any comments you've got. Understand we are going to a membership model, but everyone please understand that this is not a exclusive membership model. You do not have to be a member in order to access, use, facilitate work with, do stuff with us. And Andrew, yes, we will be doing what do you call it? Crowdfunding on certain projects for obvious reasons. And Andrew, whereabouts are you? Are you in New South Wales or Queensland or in Victoria?
Yeah, Brisbane.
In Brisbane. Okay, well, unfortunately, one of the things I'm going to be talking about shortly isn't going to excite you so much, but, but needless to say, it's exciting for us, very exciting for us. But yeah, we will have crowdsourcing happening at times, and that will give the opportunity for people that aren't members to actually jump on board and help us out, and they will be thanked for that, because one thing that you may notice on our page is that we do like to give credit, and when people submit stuff to us, we quite often say, do you want us to use your name, or do you not want us to use your name? Or some people do, some people don't. It's a hard one to pick sometimes. We're going to move on. Is everyone happy to move on? Yep, good.
Yep.
I'm going to pass it back over to Stephen. I'm hoping that his microphone, he's a little bit stuttery at the moment with his bandwidth, but I'm going to pass over to Stephen, who's going to tell you some of the success we're having, because we do have a number of successes, and I've just noticed that there you go. You can see me again. We do have a number of successes, and we like to celebrate those successes, and one of the current successes we've got is absolutely, it's blowing us away. So I'm going to pass it over to Stephen. Stephen, you're going to talk about one of our latest goodie things, aren't you? Oh, you're shocking at the moment.
Hello.
Yeah, give it a go now, mate.
Are we there? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep. All right. 144A. Is this where we're heading?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So, as you're all aware, we've devised a method for lodging these complaints for close passes under the split rule up here. To date, we've lodged 14 videos via that method. From those 14 videos, we've had 6 charges now laid. We've had, unfortunately, 3 were dropped. Because apparently the cyclist raged out at the motorist and attacked them, which wasn't a good idea, obviously. Unsure, not clear on the other 2 why they've been dropped, but Ed, have you got anything more on that?
Yeah, the 3 that were dropped, just because you were breaking up a little bit there, the one that was dropped, the first one that I heard of was dropped was because the rider actually attacked the motorist after it happened. Please do not attack the motorist. It's not a good thing. And if you do not provide enough video after the event, the police will not look at it. The other issue was it was unclear as to the car, how close it was. We looked at it ourselves, and the guys that have lodged them may notice that some of them we actually respond to the police ourselves on their behalf as well, giving our personal opinion on how close we feel it was. So the one was a little bit unclear as to how close it was. The last one that got rejected was not the license plate was not clear enough. The police could not establish who it was, and the distance they did not feel that the distance was close enough, and there's nothing we can do. Once it's gone past the stage, once we've given it to the police commissioner, who's given it to the police, who's decided to go through everything, if they've gone through that difficulty and they've decided not to go with it, we have to accept it, unfortunately. That's just the way it is in life. Sorry, Steve, go ahead.
The only thing I'll say on what Ed's just said is I've spoken to a copper mate of mine. I happen to have about a dozen copper mates. He feels that the one where the rider attacked the motorist, that's actually a separate incident, and it should have been treated as such. So I don't know how we go about going back to him on that, but that was his interpretation, was that those are 2 separate incidents and they should have been treated as 2 separate incidents. So
yeah, the police commissioner. Steve, the police
Sorry?
commissioner's office actually told me that if they proceeded and the driver did put in a complaint, that the cyclist would actually get a larger fine than the driver would.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I suggested to my mate as well, and he agreed with that. So anyway, there's 3 pending, 2 more still under investigation at the moment. The sad thing from Queensland is that over the weekend there was probably another 14 incidents that we're aware of the close passes. We've got one person I know who has video evidence of 3 close passes, all within 1 month. Sorry?
We're losing you, Steve.
Sorry. Something happened. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can again now. Yeah. Tell your kid to play.
I don't know. And there was another rider who had 2 incidents on the same weekend. We also had the case of a driver who deliberately swerved at 2 cyclists and managed to knock one of them off their bike. And we had the incident at the local individual time trial, where there was a driver who drove up and down through the time trial yelling abuse at the cyclists and at the marshals and photographers. So both of those one of those incidents has been dealt with separately from us, I believe, and we've got 2 people who've come forward and are lodging complaints, and we've got 3 witnesses to those events. So hopefully we'll get something happen from there as well.
The incident where the cyclist knocked off?
Yep.
Go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, the incident where the cyclist was knocked off, the car driver actually went to the police station and made a statement, and was booked on that statement because he actually admitted to dangerous driving in that statement.
So guys, recently there was a comment made that we're anti-police. I mean, we can't be further from the truth on that. We work very, very closely with the police. We actually those forms that we've created for reporting an incident was actually created with the help of the police. And our relationship with the police in every state, including New South Wales, Tasmania, South Australia, WA, is what I would class as impeccable. We are both consulted on issues, as well as, I mean, look, I get sent video clips of other issues on a reasonably regular basis where they actually ask for our opinion. We don't give a legal opinion. We give this is how it felt. This is how it felt to us. It felt close. It looks dangerous. It was done stupid. It felt like a deliberate act. What we're not saying is, we're not saying it was a deliberate act. We are accusing the person of this. We are saying that that's what happened. We're saying what it felt like to us as if we were in that position. Look, there's something we can really celebrate. The Rule 144A is exciting. It's something that Queensland is getting the first taste of in Australia, and we hope to see it in the other states. One of the things we have to point out is it's not the only measure, it's a measure. It's one of many ways to protect cyclists. So when we say that we don't believe that the 144A is the only method, it doesn't mean that we don't like the method. We do like the method, but we want to see more of it. We also now believe that we're seeing significant change in the police attitude as to how they're booking 144A. Any questions, any comments relating to any of that? No? Okay. We're on schedule. Anna, see, we can stay on schedule. Sorry, we've got a reputation for not being on schedule, guys.
When you make a schedule, you can stick to it. Your issue is not making schedules all the time, Edward. So, but please continue.
We make schedules. We just make them up as we go along.
Exactly.
Working groups. DG, you're going to take over a wee bit and talk about working groups and how we can actually try and activate some of the groups to work together.
Was I?
I hope so.
Did you throw that at me? I haven't got that written down. Sorry.
Well,
Sorry, mate.
I'll talk with my bumbles again.
Yeah, you're right.
We did touch on this before with Stephen talking about how we're trying to activate the groups to work together and do more things together. One of the things that we need to do is we need to actually start to get people actually communicating between the groups. The bugs, one of the ways of doing that. Local communities. Look, we don't care how big a group is, we will work with them. I had a group in Victoria that wanted to put a roundabout in Coburg to slow down traffic, and it was a major cycling route, and we sat there and I helped them write the letter to the council, and I sat there and worked with them to get that to happen. So it's not about Cycle doing all the work, it's about Cycle activating others to help them do the work. And one of the ways to do that is to ensure that the groups have got the information they need, and the way to do that is to ask us. We will find the information for you, and we will track it down, and we will provide it to you. And if we can't provide it to you, we will tell you where to get the information from. Our resources have grown dramatically over the last 6 months, and our connections have grown dramatically. We know the councils, we know we have contacts in most of the councils, and that way we can actually activate yourselves. The biggest advocates that we've got is you, to actually get things done and to get real changes happening out there in the world. So activating groups is what we want to do, and we do that via the bugs, via the community groups, via the councils, via everyone we talk to, including individuals. I know that was a really brief one. One of the other things I'm going to talk to, because we've got a little bit of time, is I'm going to just discuss really briefly our connection with newspapers and the media. Before I go into that, I'm going to open it up and say to any of you guys got any questions to why we talk to the media and how we actually handle the media and why we handle the media? Using the word handle here very specifically. No? No one's going to talk up? Okay. I chose, God, I can't remember when it was, probably at the beginning of February, mid-February, that I was tired of the war against cycling. I got sick and tired of hearing that there's a war on the road, that cyclists versus cars. If there was a war, it would be classified as genocide because we've got no weapons. We cannot. If we hit a car at full speed, we're still not going to hurt anyone. So if there was a war, it's a war we're going to lose. So unfortunately for the media, I decided that was bullshit. In order to tackle that, we decided as a group that we were going to talk to the media rather than fight the media. Offer them opportunities to find out about cycling, give them good news stories, give them information that they can actually use that excites them. Recently we had the Media Watch article, and ABC contacted us for all the background information, the good news. I demanded that they put up a good news story, which they did. I demanded that they put up realistic information rather than just one-sided, and I demanded that they talk about several of the articles that we picked. We unfortunately cannot stop them from what they want to do. They want to sell newspapers, so they will always present two sides and make our side look weak when they can. That's fine. I would rather that they make us look weak than make us look stupid, which is what they used to do. I'd rather that they turn around and say that we're vulnerable than we're useless, or we're vulnerable than we're a target. And we have seen a massive change in the media. Now, we went 4 weeks without a single bad newspaper article. And then we had Susie O'Brien. Is that right? Just give the thumbs up there, John. Was it Susie O'Brien was the name of the girl that, yep. Good old Susie O'Brien came up with her stupid article. When her article came out, I actually had the Courier Mail and the Herald Sun's editor on a Saturday ring me up and say, Edward, don't worry. We are not going to republish this in our local newspapers. It's not going to happen. We don't want to hear from you. Don't call us. It's all right. Daily Telegraph can do their story. We're not going to run it as well. And you would not have seen it in either the Herald Sun. In fact, if you clicked on the name of the thing and changed it from Daily Telegraph to Herald Sun or Daily Telegraph to Courier Mail, it didn't come up. The digital editors actually banned that story from their newspapers. Yes, the Daily Telegraph is not going to change. There is an attitude and a philosophy and a way that they communicate in there. It's not going to be one of those organisations we're going to be able to change in a hurry. But we have seen a massive change from the Courier Mail, and we've seen a massive change from the Herald Sun. We've also seen a massive change from Channel 9 and Channel 7 in all of the states. Channel 10 has never been anti-cycle. Despite what people think, they're not anti-cycle, they just like to rough things up a little bit. But we've now seen a dramatic change in the way that they approach us. We are consulted on a regular basis. Stephen and David can tell you that we are constantly consulted when it comes to media comment. We are not necessarily broadcast. We don't care. We don't want to be. We don't feel the need to say, hey, look at us, it's Cycle, we're talking. We would rather we provide them the right information in order to get the right story across in the first place than to make a big hoo-ha about it. And I think we're succeeding. There's a saying that goes, Jai, you reminded me the other day how it went. How does it go again?
Wasn't it first they ridicule you one? Gee, that's been getting a flogging.
First they laugh. What is it? First they fight you.
First they laugh, then they fight you, then you win.
That's it. We're not saying that we've won, but we've come a long way from 8 weeks ago. And I think Ridley Walker is almost retired, isn't he? John smiling there down the bottom. And John pointed out to me the other day that when he does make comments, he does want more cyclists to jump on. I'll be honest, when I see Ridley Walker suddenly starting to comment on the newspaper articles, I tend to jump off because I feel that they're in good hands. I have got David and Stephen both know that I've got nearly all the editors, and actually Craig probably as well knows that I've got all the editors' mobile numbers on my phone, so if I see something crap happening, I very quickly get on the phone to them. And we're working with them. We're not fighting the media. We do not want to fight the media. It's not worth it anymore, guys. Let's work with them. Yes, they do like clickbait. Yes, you will see me turn around and say, what a load of clickbait crap that was. But you will see a difference in the attitude that they provide to us when we do that sort of thing. Any comments or questions regarding that? That's sort of not on the agenda, but I sort of wanted to get that out there and to see if anyone wanted to say anything.
Yeah, well, I like the idea of killing the cars v bikes thing, but it leaves a vacuum, and that's exactly what I was saying about them feed the media better news stories.
We have to. If we don't provide the stories, and that's what we're doing, we're working closely with them to provide stories. If we don't provide stories, they will write their own. which means that every one of you guys, again, I'm saying activate you guys to help us. The more we can write, the more that we can tell, the more that we can get out there, the less chance that they're going to have about sending stories about hating us. And the reality is that when we see hate stories, the number of incidents goes up. No one's going to be able to deny that to me, because I started Cycle because I got attacked after Shane Warne tweeted like nuts. So the other day when I had an opportunity to meet Shane Warne, I was in two minds. Do I want to thank the guy or slap the guy? I mean, I have no idea. Well, I sort of wanted to slap him with one hand and shake his other hand. So.
I would have hit him with your bike.
Sorry?
I would have hit him with your bike.
He wouldn't have got the irony.
With the stories that are being sourced at the moment, Ed, for Cycle, you know, is there a process in terms of what you're picking and sharing? Who is that, and how is it getting selected? And I saw one of the good things I really liked that you did a while back was when you did the survey, you asked what other sources are we interacting with, and was there much that came out of that? Because I know that there's probably a lot of other networks out there that would be good to know about.
Yeah, we actually did. Is that the survey, Stephen, and we still haven't responded to fully? I mean, we have cherry-picked a few of the things out of it. One of them is the new Cycle Members Forum, which was asked for and we delivered. But was that the second survey, Jai, or? I
can't remember. I remember that you asked, you know, what are the sites, and you know whether you're sharing stuff from Copenhagenize or otherwise. You know, there's probably a good list of various cycling sites.
Look, for lack of a better word, I'm going to say that we're assholes. We get submitted to us dozens of stories a day. If we could put up every story that's submitted, I think we'd end up with one follower, and it'd be me. We would overload you. We actually have rules as to how many stories go up and how they go up and how they get spaced out. And we communicate with each other carefully before we do that. We are looking at the new website has got a whole new section in it, which is based around social media, about pulling information in from different sites. So you'll be able to see all the Copenhagenized stuff coming in with the Denmark Riders group and the Vancouver Riders group and everything coming into one zone. So you'll be able to read the whole lot in one area. We are trying to give you more information from social media in one location. It's very, very hard because there is so much good stuff out there, and we get given stuff all the time that, look, I plead with you guys to read posts from others, because we regularly put things up. Now, John gives us lots of good stuff that we put up onto the main wall because it gets missed because it's on the post by others page. We get a lot of stuff emailed to us and a lot of stuff sent to us directly, and we don't get time to put it all up. The helmet, the little melon cut helmet today went out from from Carbon Addiction yesterday, and I so wanted to put that up yesterday, but it got put up at 6:30 this morning. That was done deliberately because we know when the best times are to put up the sort of stories that we put up. And because I should tell everyone, my other job is in social media, so I do know how to study the social media background and the social media stuff to make sure that we get the best impact. The reason we're relying on Anna is because although we know when to get stuff out there, at the moment we're sort of leaning on Anna a wee bit to help us get the right tone out there. And there's a reason for that. I'm going to let Anna tell you the reason for that. So Anna, take yourself off mute and tell them one of the reasons why we're relying on you so heavily at the moment.
I don't know if you're relying on me heavily yet, but I just had some quite opinionated things to say about. I'm sure you all saw the day that I think Edward and Edward and crew thought it was a really good idea to say, we're not going to ask for respect anymore because that's never going to happen. We're going to ask for tolerance instead. And I started a bit that was how Edward found me. I started a bit of a comment thread saying, I don't think that's such a great idea. So there's some things to think about when you're a not-for-profit, and of course, you know, I work for a not-for-profit that has a particularly like intentionally aggressive and confrontational tone. That's Greenpeace, but you know, there are other things that you can do. You can choose your tone, and with I'll use the tolerance post as an example, but you know, I think it was a bit of a reaction to what was going on. You felt the rationale was like, we're never going to get respect as cyclists. You know, the motorists hate us, and you know, all of this sort of stuff. So we're going to can that idea, and we're going to go for tolerance instead as the focus. But yeah, I don't know, judging all of your communications decisions on that sort of reaction is probably not the best idea. So you know, focusing on the long term rather than the short term, not you know, getting so caught up and angry about what's going on in like this week or this month and therefore changing your whole tack, but really promoting the idea of like long-term respect for cyclists. I think that's pretty key. If you start to go with tolerance, then it has this sort of subconscious frame that that cyclists are an annoyance and they need to be just like tolerated, you know, rather than actually supported and accepted as a key part of our society. And there's all sorts of people who study what's called framing in you know, basically spin doctors. You know, if you look at the Republicans in the US, they were the ones who invented the term tax relief, for example, because by talking about tax relief, it reframes the notion of tax as a burden on society rather than, you know, a collective contribution that we're making together. So yeah, I don't know, I've got some I've got a lot more ideas, and we've got time to sort of go into it and make sure that yeah, we're promoting a good, positive, accepting tone on the page. Also, I think it's worth pointing out that there are very few women on this call. I've been part of, like, I've seen a couple of things that have been posted on the Facebook wall, which may have been like unintentionally, but just can be read as a little bit sexist. You know, calling women girls instead of women is a simple thing that has happened on this call a couple of times, I'd like to point out. You know, just subtle things like that can make certain segments of the base that you're trying to, like, you know, bring in to an inclusive community, can make them feel like, oh, maybe this isn't the place for me. So just being aware of things like that is really important and helpful. And yeah, I hope that I can provide a little bit of feedback to help to create a really positive, inclusive community tone within the cycle community. Is that what you wanted me to say, Edwin?
I wanted you to say whatever you wanted to say, and I think that's spot on. So we do come across a little bit blokey, and that's because we don't have enough women in our organisation. And our only woman we've got at the moment is on hiatus, and we are missing her dramatically. And I'm really hoping that she will come back and do more stuff with us. But until then, at least we've got a little thing in the back of our head now that sort of says, "What would Anna say? What would Anna do?" And David and I actually know this from yesterday's conversation we had regarding another issue. Where we were saying, what would Anna say about this, and how would she react to it, and all that sort of stuff. And David, Anna and I discussed this earlier today, and we agreed that we probably done a pretty good approach, and we're actually happy with that. And yes, guys, I'm talking in bloody whispers and everything else again. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is sometimes. Look, I'm going to change it slightly and say, is there anyone or anything that want to ask any questions? Start that again. That sounded shocking. Anyone want to ask anything or say anything in this part of the meeting? Because we're actually going to go to our normal, reduced normal meeting after this, which you're all welcome, more than welcome to join in, so you can actually hear what happens behind the scenes. Steve is waving his arm around.
I'm going to turn my camera off again because it's hopeless. Up there, that's it. I just wanted to quickly say, in relation to engaging people and user groups, etc. too, one of the things that I find, particularly up here in Queensland, we don't have people who want to be involved in bicycle user groups. So I've put out calls in various places, and unfortunately we've not got any further with that. And one of the ideas that I've had with Ed is through the membership and through the people who are just on our Facebook page, is simply to, if you see something, let us know. If you see that there's a bikeway we're using that's not lit and doesn't have any signage or whatever else is wrong with it, let us know and let us take that up on behalf of people in your area. So we basically, even if we have to just make up that we're calling on behalf of the ABC bicycle user group, and let us take that up on your behalf, because a lot of people don't have the time or don't have the inclination to wander into their council office and sit down and talk to someone about an issue that they've got. But we can do that on people's behalf, and so that's where posting on our wall is a good thing. Post it up. We've got a problem. This bikeway doesn't have signage. It doesn't have whatever. The bike lane's too narrow. There's an issue. Whatever it is, let us know and we can take it up. We've got our contacts through the main roads and through the councils and everyone else. So that's as good as to me as having an actual bicycle user group in some circumstances, because we can just take it up and we've got the people who are going to action that for us. That was all I was going to say.
Thank you, Stephen. Has anyone else got anything else I would like to add before we go into our normal meeting that we always get told off for running over time, and David usually puts a few hats on people. So now's the opportunity to join, to say something. Now, lastly, I'd just like to say that our meetings are not always open. This one will be a regular, probably bi-monthly occurrence now, where we will actually give you guys an update as to how we're going and what we're up to. Generally speaking, our meetings are invitational. In other words, if you've got something you want to add or you want to join in, you just let us know. They happen Thursdays at 8:30 at this stage, and what's that, 7:30 in Montreal time, and or 6:30 in Montreal time. Sorry, 6:30 in Montreal.
6:30. Yeah.
Yep. And we do welcome people to come on invitational. We like to hear from you guys. We need to hear from you guys. We're here for you guys. So talk up, speak up, let us know, and we'll do everything we can in order to make things even more interesting. So again, I'm just going to open it up. Does anyone want to add anything? John, I've been reading what you've been typing on the side, and Jay, yes, he does know what he's talking about. He is a Jai. Sorry, done it again. Oh, Jai, he does know what he's talking about. He's a smart fella, John. And that's why I always say whenever I see him jumping onto a page, I already feel more comfortable. Otherwise, we're going to go into our ordinary meeting, which you're more than welcome to hang around for. It's going to be a reduced one. It's only going to be probably 20 minutes long in total. Is everyone happy if we do that, or anyone want to bring anything else up?
Or if anyone wants to say goodbye at this point, they can as well. So.
Or if anyone wants to clear off, yes, they're welcome to. They've got a free pass if they want to leave, but otherwise, I'd love you guys to hang around and you can give us your feedback at the end of the ordinary meeting. Okay, cool. Going into the ordinary meeting, I'm going to chair this very briefly. I'm going to talk about what we're up to and start off with the website. I'm sure that you two both know where I'm at with the website. It's absolutely not a crud at the moment. I've got some time tomorrow. I'm not working for anyone tomorrow, so you will see changes happening to it. I'm doing the changes live now, guys. So if you look, you will see that there are things that are changing on it as we're going along. The new members area has been done. The new log-on for groups, so that the different groups, bugs, community groups, orgs, agencies, and peak bodies can now log on and create an account and register with us so that we know who they are. Stephen, I think I've told you there's 168 cycling-based advocacy groups across Australia. We're not going to contact them individually. We're going to have to rely on social media to get the word out so that they contact us at this point in time. Any comments, guys? DG? Steve? Anna? No? Okay. Leaving it where it is then. Are you happy with the website update at the state? The fact you've got a website update? Yeah. Sorry, I'm not going any quicker on that. Activities, Steve, do you want to tell us what you've got on over the next week?
Oh, hang on, let me open up my diary because I can't remember them all. My calendar says... So yesterday, you can hear me? Yep. Yesterday I met with Wally White from the active transport manager to discuss the Moreton Bay plan and what's going on with the cycle infrastructure. So we need to get our submission sorted out this weekend and get it into them. I've actually basically asked him exactly what he'd like a submission about, because at the moment the cycle plan's not complete. So there's not a lot of point in a 40-page submission about a cycle plan that's absolutely nowhere near completion. That's that one. Tomorrow I've got a meeting with my state member, being Tim Mander. So have that discussion with him about basically we're trying to get some assistance from him in calming some of the roads that TMR is intending to use as our principal bikeway.
Yep.
Through this area, so I've got a bit of interest in that one. Next week I have a Stapleton from Transport and Roads Queensland to talk about split rule and various other cycling issues on TMR roads. We have a situation where we've got to try to talk. I need to clarify some details of what they're calling our primary cycling routes, because those primary cycling routes aren't being interconnected with BCC. So that is happening. The week after that, I have a meeting with Mark Pascoe from the Brisbane City Council Active Transport Department. And at this moment, that's where we sit.
Now, that one with TMR next week, is that the one we have to discuss on the weekend to get all our I's dotted?
Yeah, well, that one's arisen from comments that were made on Campbell Newman's own Facebook page around the split rule.
Yep.
We originally wanted a meeting with Campbell Newman. He fobbed that off to Scott Emerson, who's now forwarded that across to Michael to deal with. So
I actually feel that Scott Emerson is pushing very hard on all of those things that we're actually giving them. I actually think that Scott Emerson may actually be one of the pushes that we're getting now on getting those people fined for close passing. The next job we need to do is get back in touch with our media contacts in order to ensure that they can actually do a follow-up story saying that the split rule is working, because we are seeing people getting fined for it rather than the split rule isn't working because it's not required. So we need to go back to our media contacts, and they'll stay to ourselves, so we don't need to broadcast that, and get them activated so that we can actually get some good news story out happening about that.
That meeting with Scott Emerson at Bike Week, he was very, very, very pro cycling. He seemed to be very much on our side.
Scott Emerson, he's a rider himself, but he just seems to be, he's like Tony Abbott. He rides, but he's not the sort of rider that we are normally associating with. He's normally on his 10 speed going as fast as he bloody well can. So yeah, look, it's all good. It's all brilliant. So let's
do you mind me saying something? I just want to sort of say to some of the people who, most of these people don't know who I am at all. I've said this to Ed a few times. I came along first of all in relation to the cycling situation. I'm a victim of 3 separate incidents over 5 years or something, including lost a part out of the back of my leg. I've along the way here through this, I've had a bit of a journey of my own where I've very quickly come to realise that the stuff I do for cycle is not about it's not only about cycling. And I've come to a realisation very quickly that if I continue to go and knock on every politician and councillor's door and say, I'm here to talk to you about cycling, soon enough they're going to go, another cyclist, here we go, another cyclist. My approach is very much now, what we are trying to do and what I am trying to do is to create more livable cities and more livable urban hubs. Our city in Brisbane is, and like everywhere else, has one large CBD area and a whole heap of urban hubs off of that. Unfortunately in Brisbane, the BCC focuses very strongly on the CBD, and as I've told you before, there's only one, sorry, people coming home, there's only one council for a geographic area the same size as Melbourne that has 28 councils. So I'm very strongly talking to each of these councils now about, look, we need to do this urban design around each of the hubs, and part of that is about cycling. And that's I've had a much better reception from urban planners, from active transport people, from councillors, just because I'm not in there just talking to them about a sole point being cycling. So I just wanted to, explain that from my side. While I've got a big focus on cycling, because I am a cyclist, I do commute, I do race, I've done a lot of mountain biking as well, but I also have a big focus now on just trying to get better urban outcomes for people. Full stop. Yep. There you go.
Thanks. There is another thing too that we've found very successful is we don't go in as advocates. We are not advocates. We go in as consulting, and we want to consult to make life better. David, any updates in your area? Any activities you've got at the moment? I know that your focus is more about making sure that we have a good website and good and don't get trolled, etc. Which, guys, just to let everyone know, getting trolled is a full-time pastime for some people on our site. So, any update from yourself, DG?
Yeah, look, my mouth's open more often than not, and I do get trolled for that. Yeah, that's enough, Steve. But yeah, I've had a few discussions with people from other pages this week that were very productive in the end. Yeah, no real updates, but just the fact that yeah, we as a crew under the banner of Cycle do get trolled quite often.
Yeah, and the last few days I've had to actually abandon things due to health, teeth or what other issues, and I do rely heavily on DG to be able to jump on there and moderate.
But yeah, I've had a few discussions with people from other pages this week that were very productive in the end. Yeah, no real updates, but just the fact that yeah, as a crew under the banner of Cycle do get trolled quite often.
Yeah. and the last few days I've had to actually abandon things due to health, teeth or whatever issue. Feedback coming back from someone here. Hang on. To be able to jump on here and moderate.
Yeah, about with people from other pages this week that were very productive in that.
Change it down a little bit. There we go. Paul, just come on. If you need to talk, mate, just bring your volume back up. But I've just turned you down a little bit because we're getting a bit of feedback from you. Okay, update from myself. This is actually quite exciting. I'm working at the moment creating the first, what I'm saying is the first round table discussion in New South Wales in a very long time, and we're very, very excited about it. Stephen and I will be going to New South Wales late August and running an running a round table, and if we can get DG along to it as well, that would be good. Anna, you can't make it, I'm sorry. You're a little bit too far away. I've also got several meetings in the house and around the place here. One of them was with Monash Council. Put in a new bike lane with bike symbols right next to the car door. It was an 80-centimetre bike lane next to the car doors. We've actually had a chat with the council, found that the councillor himself is a beach road cyclist, so he understands what we're talking about, so we're having them reconfigured at the moment. Recently, been speaking to, had a meeting with freestyle cyclists and went to their AGM. That was really exciting, really interesting, guys. Lots of really good stuff happening from them. Their focus is changing to not just cover helmet legislation, but also to look at utility cycling more. And they're becoming a stronger, more evolved group. And I'm working very closely with them on that because I'm still finding that we're lacking any form of advocacy for utility riders in Australia. And guys, while I've got you all on here, please tell me, do we have anyone that knows any group, peak body that actually looks after utility cycling in Australia that anyone knows of? John's typing away. Hang on, I'm just having a look at everything there. Right, I'll wait for John's comment to come up, but at the same time, if there's anyone else that knows of anyone that looks up, John. We're not an advocacy group, John, stop it. So the biggest thing is going to be the Sydney meeting, which is absolutely incredible. We're absolutely surprised about how quickly that's growing. Jai, if you're going to be available, I would really like you to come down as an academic to that. I'll talk to you offline about the dates and the information regarding that. It will be very exciting. Just to give you an idea, we're not mixing it with the small people, and we are running the round table. And I've told everyone that, yes, because I'm a pushy bastard, I'll be controlling how it works out for everyone. It is not a discussion around helmets, it's not a discussion around bike lanes, it's not a discussion around Sydney's cycleways, it's a discussion around how Sydney's got to where it is and where Sydney wants to get to next. And we're there to help facilitate that, and the way we're going to do that is the way we do everything, by activating the people themselves to do the improvements. So that's my activity. What was that?
I live in New South Wales, not Sydney.
I know you do. You live up in Newcastle, but that's just up the road.
I'll come down here, okay.
It is a weekday day, but you know, it's all good. coming up, where we've gone through coming up in issues. Is there anything else, guys, from my team that anything else you want to bring up at this stage? No, DG, no, Anna, Steve.
I've given up coffee and no one's died yet.
Hang on. Why coffee? Why? No, you're not a cyclist anymore. Bugger off. No, you're not part of that. It's one of the tenets. Look, I'm just going to open it up. How did people feel about today's meeting? Did they enjoy it? What did people think? Open floor, everyone. You can unmute yourselves and have a chat and tell us what you thought of it. Good, bad, and different. We want to know and be honest, because the only way we can make things better is in honesty and telling us where we're going wrong. We've got 3 people that have given us a rating of 4 on our page. I would like to know how to make that 5s.
We should be able to edit it.
I'll tell Facebook next time I speak to them.
Yeah, good.
Hang on, I've been leaving Lebanon the whole time. Look at that.
What has Anna started here?
Yeah, I know. Anna's got the bloody drawing out. I don't know. I'm getting worried already. Is anyone got anything they'd like to add? Cycling for the utility cycling is. Oh, did I actually ever answer the question regarding ACP there, Jai, or not?
No, you didn't.
All right. Just out of the blue, sorry, Jay. I really apologise. I missed that. The Sydney meeting, they're actually coming to that. I spoke to Omar today, and regularly speak to Omar. This happens quite a lot in our weekly meetings where the drawing stuff comes out, by the way, guys. Just a warning. I spoke to Omar today about coming to the meeting. Where we sit with the Cycling Party, we are, of course, I keep reiterating this, a media outlet first. We will work with the Cycling Party to promote them. We will work with them happily to see where they fit in and to help them get what they're trying to achieve, as we do with every other group. When they're doing a membership push, we will help them with their membership push. The ACP is an interesting situation. We don't know where it's going to land. We don't know where it's going to end up. Bearing in mind that besides the tenets that get us to work together, besides the rules that we have inside Cycle, every one of us is allowed to have our own opinion on those things. My opinion on the ACP may be different from the others' opinions on the ACP. I wish them all the success, but I'm still confused how they're going to fit into the political landscape in the future. That doesn't mean all it means is I'm on the fence. That's what it boils down to. I don't know what David's opinion is on it. I don't know what Stevie's opinion is on it. The heck was that you, DG? It was.
I'll give you my opinion.
So we want the Cyclist Party to be successful. Bear in mind that we've got some incredible lobbyists that are already in Parliament right now doing work for us by the name of Cycling Promotion Fund, and we promote and strongly work with Shane and Peter from there when we can. So yeah, John, they are single issue parties are always an issue and a problem. We need to find out where they're going to fit in the larger picture, and that's why they're coming to the meeting in Sydney, and that's why I continue to keep liaising and talking with Omar, because that's what our role is. That's what Cycle's role is. Cycle's role is to activate everyone else. Any other questions? Anything else anyone else wants to add? I think John's typing frantically away again.
Cool. I just want to encourage people, me with my pirate hat on, I just want to encourage people to really think about giving feedback once you leave, because I think questions like, should we do a hangout again in the future, and what would we do differently in the future? What would you like us to talk about next time? All of those sorts of things are just great suggestions. So if you, or if you just think it was like 10 out of 10, you can put 10 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 or whatever your rating is. Just pop it in the chat as you leave, and we'll collect those as feedback. But back to you, Edward.
Thanks. I'm going to leave your hat up there, so I'm going to talk down on the little box, and you're going to stay up there in the top box there. Oh, actually, I might even swap you over for a second to Mr. Cat in the Hat for a second. Please do give us your feedback. We do have a little bit of fun. It's not all work, because otherwise we would go nuts. This video chat is available on YouTube, so you can review it again if you want to listen to my voice. God knows why anyone would want to do that, but you can. And my son just laughed at me saying that in the background. Oh, that suits you so much better, DG. Thank you very much for those that came along. We had 22 join us on YouTube as well. Hello, YouTubers. I think it doesn't tell me who joined on YouTube, but it does tell me we had 22. Maybe it tells me who later. And if there's, please tell me what you think. Send us information. Keep us informed. Most importantly, just remember that you guys do more work out there for cycling than anyone else. That doesn't mean that we believe that you should. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I used to be the guy that would chase after the guy that ran the red light. And I would run a red light in order to catch that guy to tell him off for running a red light. I believe that everyone is your own representative, your own best effort. And I do not believe that you're responsible for every other rider. I had a huge big conversation about this with Craig Fry the other day. But I do believe that you can be your own best advocate, and that's what we're trying to do with everyone out there. So thank you very much. Please feel free to leave any comments. Yeah, Anna, no one's buying it. Just feel free to leave any comments you want to before you head off. Thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate your effort tonight, and thanks to my team. Honestly, my team, I would be nothing without them. Cheers, everyone.
Good work, Ed. Thank you.
See you, guys.
Good night.
I'm going to be the last to hang up, guys, because I need to for the YouTube thing to work. So you've got to start hanging up, guys.
See you, mate. Thanks.
No worries. Hey, thanks for joining us. Okay, it was great to have you on board.
Cool. Good job, Ed. I'll send you the written notes that I've got.
Cool. That's excellent. And we'll catch up offline because this is still recording to YouTube at the moment, but we'll catch up later on.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. See you later.